considered thus far in this verse, we understand that in abandoning the name of Yahweh our Elohim and not allowing room in our lives for his covenant with us will lead to a separation from him. And we said that it is very, very important that we realize that we can believe, now this is important, that we can believe that we are in agreement with our Elohim, but in reality, we're in the exact state of being that he described in Moses in these verses in Devarim, that we are actually separated from our Elohim. Now, we've talked about these verses from Matthew several times, but it's Matthew 7:21 through 23. But we really have to burn these into our consciousness. This is something that we really need to think about. Yahshua said, "Not everyone that says to me, my master, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, except for he that does the will of my Father which is in heaven." Where do we find the will of the Father that is in heaven? We keep his commandments. "Many will say to me in that day, my master, have we not prophesied in your name? And in your name have we not cast out devils? And in your name done many wonderful works? And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity." So what is this telling us? That we really, really need to pay attention to our relationship with Elohim. That we can believe that we have something going on, but because it doesn't line up with the will of the Father the way it should, then we're actually not in the presence of Elohim. And when the time comes, he'll say, well, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I don't know who you are. You didn't take time to get to know me. I don't know who you are. To know our Elohim is to acknowledge his name and to walk according to his Torah, his instruction, his will. The verse continues with the phrase, has the locust eaten? I don't know, has the locust eaten? Everybody else has. Okay, there we go. Bum, bum. This comes from the Hebrew phrase, achal har ha'arbe. The word for eaten is akal. This word also means to devour and consume. Literally, it means to burn up. Now, the word for locusts is ha'arbe, that from the root rabah means increase, fullness, and abundance. So here we can once again construct an idea of devouring or burning up of the increase, fullness, and abundance found in a relationship with Yahweh Elohim by and through his Torah that instructs us how to live our lives in covenant with our Elohim. We move on with this in mind to the word, again, yeter, that we discovered earlier meant abundance and rest. And again, we can consider that to not walk with Elohim according to his word and in covenant with him will affect both of these two areas. It'll affect our abundance and it'll affect our rest. Now, what isn't consumed or devoured at this point, what isn't consumed at this point is devoured and consumed. I should learn to read my own writing, even though it's typewritten. That's achad, by the cankerworm. The cankerworm is hayalech. That literally means to lick up. But the Proto-Hebrew of this word tells us something a little different than just to lick up. Yours is supposed to look like this, and then it has this. But in this Proto-Hebrew, we get an idea of separation or division of blessing. So we can take this and expand on our idea and consider that to not walk with Elohim according to his word and in covenant with him will affect our abundance and rest, separating us from his blessing. If we can't perceive that Yahuwah Elohim is present, if we don't build a relationship with our Elohim, if we go off on our own and all this stuff, then we are actually separated from our relationship with him, and we are separated from his blessing. What happens at this point is that we receive blessing from a different source. And we receive blessing from a different source that as long as we're separated from Elohim, this blessing thrives. And this blessing comes from the Satan. But as soon as we make teshuvah and turn around and recognize that I'm not in a relationship with Elohim, I'm not where I should be, and I make teshuvah and I turn around, these blessings from the Satan stop. The blessings from Elohim don't immediately pick up, so where am I now? I'm stuck in the middle. Nothing's happening. I have to have faith, because if I'm going to have a relationship with Elohim, I have to have faith. Otherwise, it breeds doubt. We make mountains out of molehills. We remember the plagues of Egypt. So, to stay in a relationship with Elohim is to be consistent in the blessings of Elohim. But to step away from Elohim, we're divided from his blessings, but, like I said, blessings can pick up from somewhere else, from a source that we really don't want those blessings to come from. That being said, the last little bug to consider in this verse is the caterpillar. From the word hechasil, that aside from caterpillar also means a ravager. No, all the words for these bugs, they all mean locust. But they're just different words for locust. Now, the word for caterpillar is hechasil, that aside from caterpillar also means a ravager. The root of this word is hasal, that means to bring to an end. And this word is preceded again by achal, that we learned meant to devour and to consume. And it is here that we consider that when we have been totally separated from Elohim, when we are completely devoured and consumed, we will come to an end, as in we will no longer have existence or our existence in Yahuwah Elohim. What was the last plague of Egypt? It was the death of the firstborn. That's it. There's no teshuvah. So the overall idea from these the overall idea of these 4 verses of Yoel is this: the word of Yahuwah answers every question concerning everything at every time in our existence, by and through its proclamation, declaration, commandment, and promise. The word will judge and has the authority to redeem, deliver, and restore. It is according to the word of Yahuwah that we move towards him and in him, or against him and separated from him. We are restored and established by making space or room for Elohim, as well as for his word and his covenant with us. We must not allow ourselves to become the 3rd generation that is so wrapped up in Gimel, its own wealth and stability, that leads into the 4th generation of Dalet, where we are so spiritually poor that we don't even recognize the very existence of Yahuwah Elohim. To only recognize God and reject Yahuwah Elohim is to break the first 3 commandments and to reject the Shema. The worship of the Torah-observant children of Israel is not Judaism or Christianity, both of whom have rejected Yahuwah Elohim and have fabricated the Lord God to replace him. The prophets were not popular because their message, though true, was not popular. It is the 1000th generation of those that love him and keep his commandments that will receive restoration. 1 in 1,000 are numerical values of the Aleph, the letter that represents Yahuwah Elohim, and it is to this generation that Yahuwah Elohim will show mercy. Corruption is born and bred of ignorance, and it is spread to our children, to their children. It is here that the truth can be maintained, or a lie can blossom into a new but false truth. We must not trample or take away from the word, as to do so will cause our abundance and rest to be devoured. Abandoning the name of Yahweh our Elohim and not allowing room in our lives for his covenant with us will lead to separation from him, the devouring or burning up of increase, fullness, and abundance found in a relationship with him by and through his Torah that instructs us as to how to live our lives in covenant with our Elohim. To not walk with Elohim according to his word and his covenant with him will affect our abundance and rest, separating us from his blessing. When we have been totally separated from Elohim, when we are completely devoured and consumed, we will be to an end, as we will no longer have existence or our existence in Yahuwah Elohim. It's a lot of stuff. It's some pretty serious stuff. But when we consider this little mini essay, we take that to Passover with us, and we think about this. That's the seriousness of those cups. If I believe that Yahuwah Elohim is real, and if I am sitting down at his Passover that he commanded us to keep as an everlasting festival for our generations forever, then if I'm doing this, then I need to keep this in mind every time I take a sip of that particular cup. So as we continue our studies in the book of Yoel, we will find that what we have discussed in this study to be a continuing theme, and as such a theme that we must take very seriously in our lifetime. It has been stated, and it is true, that we have our lifetime only to build a relationship with our Elohim. And the book of Yoel, we're going to find, does not mince words or pull any punches. And to some, it's an unpleasant reminder that teshuvah has to be made and changes must take place. Again, Yahshua said in Matthew 24:10, "And then shall many be offended. They shall betray one another, and they will hate one another." But we have to know why we believe what we believe. And we can't just take the preacher's word for it, or the rabbi's word for it, or the best-selling author's word for it. We've got to study to show ourselves approved so that we can answer that question, where are you? The book of Joel is telling us this straight up. And then it's talking about the consequences of not doing that. And we go into the consequences of what comes and what ravages, and they've made a song about it thinking that it's the armies of Elohim, but this is the enemy that's coming, because they're not coming through the door. We're going to find that as we move on, they're coming up and they're coming through the window. And we talked about this the other day, that when you walk through the door, you're walking in agreement with the person that's in that house. A thief comes to destroy and take away. That thief comes through the window. What he's telling us tonight, what we learned tonight, is something that we need to really think about. Where is my relationship with Elohim? And when he comes to knock, will I open the door and allow him into my house, because he's in agreement with me and I'm in agreement with him? Because he's not going to come to knock if we're not. But that is part one of Yoel. We're going to stay in the Treyasar for a while. We're going to try to go through the 12 prophets over the next year. And we'll be bringing a lot of Yahshua's commentaries from the Bazora into all this, because he confirms what the Torah says, and the prophets are just repeating it. So with that, grooviness is achieved. One more time. Yeah, there we go.